Hey guys, it's the O.P.O.V podcast, episode 39.
39.
And today we're having a conversation with the author.
This is a Kenya. So.
We have Marcia F Parrish here, and she's here to talk about her book, Up From Ashes, Turning Life's Disappointments into Victory. Hi, Marcia Parrish.
Hi, Jessica Johnson and Eric Johnson.
So first of all, how was your day?
My day was great. It was busy so far, but it was great.
I got a busy day also. And what about you, Jess?
I have a busy day too.
But it's always a good day. Kind of cold out, but we all got the book there.
Okay.
And
I actually have the Kindle edition, but
now tell us where we can get these books from.
Well, you can go on Amazon and you can either get it as an ebook or you can purchase a paperback. And I recommend it because, first of all, let me tell you, I recommend it because it's going to help you get through some of life's disappointments.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it will give you a format for dealing with disappointment. And my reason for writing the book is because everybody, no matter who you are, you go through disappointments in life. The only way you're not going to go through disappointments is if you have no feelings about anything.
Or if you're in a coma.
If you're in a coma, then you won't. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter your ethnicity. Doesn't matter your age. You're going to go through disappointment.
Definitely. Now, I was reading a book, even though you always draw back to the base of the Bible for like your research.
Yeah.
To me, it was like more of a Malcolm Gladwell type of book, even though it's smaller.
huge compliment.
Very easy to read, and
Thank
then the stories make sense to what you're trying to give. You drop a lot of jewels in your book.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you. And I think it's just from life because I'm 60 years old and I've been through a number of disappointments in my life. And I can tell you this, that some of them have been so hard, I thought they were the end. But I found out that if I trusted God and I used these principles, these biblical principles to help me get through it, that there is sunshine on the other side. Matter of fact, it's not just getting through, but that disappointment, it is like when you go through it the right way, it's building up muscles and tenacity so that the next time that something happens to you, you know you can make it through.
Preparation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I went through that recently where I know that years ago, I went through a couple of disappointments and I felt like it was kind of like taking me out. I felt down and depressed. And then now I go through a disappointment and I know, okay, I can face this. Let me reposition myself and just keep it moving.
Yeah, life goes on. Keep pushing. You know, you got to learn sometimes. Lower your expectations. But you still, I don't know. I like the way that you in the book, as far as it's like a structure to persevere through like any type of like expectations that you're let down by.
Because what we don't realize is that all of us are uniquely made. And sometimes we don't even know what our purpose here on planet Earth is.
I think a lot of people might not know.
Yes, until we press forward. And a lot of people are afraid to try new things and to venture into different avenues of things. One thing you have to get out of your head is the fear of failure. Because if you're ever going to succeed at anything, you have to get over the fear of failure.
You know what? I think that, and it's just so funny that you say that. There's this one supervisor at work. Well, she's retired now, but I know that every time something you think, if you say, if you have an obstacle, immediately you want to say, I have a problem. And she would always say, okay, we have an opportunity.
Yes, and it is.
Like it really is an opportunity.
It's an opportunity to develop a strength in your life. And I'm not going to tell all the book, but in the book I talk about somebody that was a friend of mine. And
you snitching in the book?
Yeah, I am a little bit. Really strong woman of God. I mean, really strong. And some of our fears really don't make sense. Like if they're not even rational to us.
Yeah.
But she was afraid of dead bodies. And she reasoned in her mind, this is not even rational that I should be afraid of dead bodies. But when she got around dead bodies, she would start sweating and her heart would beat fast and all that. But she wanted to get over it. So then I talk about something that's called habituation. If we avoid things that we're afraid of, it becomes magnified. But if we face our fears, we're able to get over them. So she decided that's what she was going to do.
And facing your fears is the very definition of courage. Like,
yes.
It's so funny you said something about dead bodies, because you reminded me of a memory I had when we were younger. I think I might have maybe been in the 3rd grade when Grandpa Thomas passed away. And me and our stepsister, and this is what helped me get over my fear of dead bodies, we went up to the casket and we were like, I'll touch him if you touch him. But then after that, I wasn't afraid anymore.
Okay.
Sorry. So can you tell us about a couple of principles in your book that help you get over the disappointments?
Let me think. Okay. Well, we talked about the principle of facing your fear. And another thing is truthfulness. And I talk about in the book about truthfulness. And see, we have to have a standard of, it's not your truth and it's not my truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth.
Yes.
It's the truth. And I always use the Bible as a standard for myself. And until we're willing to be honest with ourselves, we can't, it's hard to go forward without being honest with yourself. You have to come to a place of quietness where you get together with yourself and with truth, and then examine what you have done, and then go over it and come to a truth about it.
Now, what's funny is that I was going to ask you about that exact same. I'm keep right to it. Page 39. As far as before you can deal with your disappointments in life, you must learn to speak the truth to yourself.
Yes.
Before we tell our truth, we have to know what it is. We have to stop speaking at our pain and failure and start looking from a different vantage point.
And you know what I think? One thing that people have that isn't. I think as people we tend to zero in on points regarding the situation that favor the better outcome for us. Does that make sense? Instead of looking at the whole thing and coming to what the truth is, we tend to zero in on certain aspects of the situation that will justify our perception or validate our perception.
You could, just like with the Miles Garrett thing.
Yeah.
How he's coming around now trying to say that Rudolph called him the N-word, which that still doesn't justify you bashing his head.
Right.
And like you were talking about, speaking the truth to ourselves and those types of things. Sometimes it takes a while of quiet time. Sometimes you don't. It's so painful. Sometimes the truth can be painful, but it is your friend. It's your friend. It's your friend. And sometimes it takes a few times of us getting together by ourselves and doing some examination and getting through all that. Okay, I ain't blaming nobody now. I'm not going to blame. I'm not going to, say it's because of this or because of that I didn't get the results that I thought I was going to get, or I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to really speak the truth to myself. And it can be painful, like I'm peeling that onion. Okay, this time I didn't get all the way there, but I'm going to go in again, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Self-awareness, observation.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think that's a lot of times right now I'm in a place of singleness. Been there for a minute. But I think that's something that'll help us keep it moving quicker, is if you're honest with yourself about people who you're dating or where you're at in life or what you expect from a partner.
Now, what do you think about people who use life for more survival than prosperity?
Well,
because sometimes people don't, they want it to be their truth, and they'll like do the justification just because they're in survival mode instead of trying to become a better person.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not until the Lord, because God is truth. He's love, and He is truth, and His word is truth. And if you don't have a basis, then all you are is speaking from your pain. You know what I mean? If you don't have a basis of truth, some foundation, a basis for truth, the basis for truth is the word of God. Because no matter whatever else is going on, it's going to be there. It's steady. It's a steady foundation. No matter whatever else, whether stock market goes up or goes down, no matter who's in office or who's not in office, and no matter if I have a job or I don't have a job, it's still truth. It's still a firm foundation. So people who don't have that, they're going to always waver. In good times, this is my truth. In bad times, this is my truth. So I think the first, you got to have a foundation of what is true. And you have to be willing to speak that to yourself, whether it is good times or bad times. You have to be able to, I'm going to come underneath this truth, whether it's good times or bad times. Can I share with you all a time that was really hard for me? Okay. One really hard time, and I've had lots of them, but one really hard time in my life is when I worked in the steel mill, and this was like years ago. It was in the 70s, so you all weren't, you weren't
in the 70s.
You weren't there. you weren't there yet, but you came along a little later on. You came along because it was the late 70s. No, I mean you came along in the you came along in the 80s, but the early 80s. So no, I'm just saying I'm dating myself, because in our region the steel mills were the major employers of people during that time. And right out of high school, I went into the steel mill. And I was elated. I mean, it was like, that was the best job I ever had. Up until then, I had worked at department stores and stuff like that, after school jobs and stuff. And that was like, wow, I can really afford to do some things like, let me give you my family dynamics at that time. We lived in the housing projects at that time. And I had never lived in a house. Actually, I always lived in
Cochranville?
Cochranville projects. Yeah. That's exactly where I grew up at. And I went right into the steel mill, Homestead Steel Mill. And 5 years down the road, they're starting to dismantle and laying people off.
Like, this is what I chose for my career.
But in the beginning, it was like, wow, this is such an opportunity. And you're faced with that level of disappointment after only 5 years.
After only 5 years, after you have commitments now. You didn't have commitments before, but because you felt like it was such a good job, now you stepped out on getting a house.
I know, and
what?
then people look
It's
at the steel mill workers like, man, they pay good down
yeah.
there.
It's the worst being a manager knowing that something like that's going to happen. You got to keep it from your employees, though. You like that.
Oh my goodness!
So imagine what your manager was thinking.
And just look at how much these areas, the Mon Valley area, depended on the steel.
Well,
mill.
everything is still centered around it. And even though there's non-existent now, everything is still like kind of based around that little area.
Right. But out of that, allow me to see what God can do for you with nothing, out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Was it a good feeling, a good time? No. But I had to learn to lean on God at that time. Okay, laid off, mortgage payments. They're going to keep coming. Things are going to keep coming no matter what. It's just going to keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
You're staying woke at night. Bills still coming. Anxiety, heart beating fast. You know, every emotion that comes with having more bills than money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I just decided to for those nights that I couldn't sleep, to start going downstairs with my Bible and just getting into it and just talking to God
Instead of slumping into depression.
Well, I mean, hey, you can go in, but you still got to pay your bills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You still got people by that time, little kids and stuff that's dependent on you.
Mm-hmm.
So you still gotta, take care of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So am I saying that I was some superwoman? No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that that's when I learned to start leaning on God through all that and getting his strength through that. Lo and behold, do you not know that through that, he showed us how to grow a small business from one little snow cone machine. Isn't that something?
I was there.
You were there. You were there. You was the smallest little entrepreneur anybody could ever see. But you were there.
I was there.
Yeah. So you know that I'm not fabricating it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Even the transition from out of that to what you do now.
Yes.
Right.
That was a big jump, and that takes like a lot of courage.
And perseverance.
And it's nobody but God.
Mm-hmm.
When we learn to tap into that and let our disappointments strengthen us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's good stuff.
I just want to encourage anybody that if you're going through something now, know that it's not the end. That if you just will really, lean on God and let him strengthen you through it, and, be able just have some quiet time with yourself during all that you're going through and reflect. And I tell you one thing that I like is a notebook. A 50-cent notebook. You know how the good thing a 50-cent notebook can do when you sit down with it and just begin to write. Just begin to write. And you will be able to sort out your thoughts and sort out the things that are going on. You just would not know how much a 50-cent notebook can help you get your plans together.
Yeah, well, because it's like your brain's vision board.
Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that being said, as far as the book goes, did you what was your expectations as far as the book? Like, did you want to just throw it out there and see whoever gets it, or did you have like a certain group of people that you want?
Well, the group of people was like the I would say mostly anybody, but the 30-somethings and under who seem like they give up. To me, they seem like they give up too soon.
Yeah, and what I was leaning off of that is, do you think that we have expectations of time periods that our storm is supposed to be like? As far as if somebody, tough time can last years.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't start to work out within 4 or 5 months. Sometimes people start to give up hope. You think that's like the biggest issue as far as
I
like
think
we
it
expect
is.
a time frame
Yes.
for a tough time?
Yes, I think it is. And I think a lot of times it is because, it can be because of the generation too, because if you'll notice,
Instant gratification.
yes, the instant gratification. And if you notice, even if we look at American history and everything, the most productive times in our society is right after things like a depression or people are going through, because the tenacity is there. It's like, I don't know, I'm not going to give up because I know there's a win on the other side of this. I know what it's like just to eat some rice with a little bit of something tossed on it, and I can sacrifice for my vision. And a lot of times God wants to build that up in us, that we learn to sacrifice for the vision. You know, what is it? Okay, I don't want to give all the book, but I just want to say that sometimes we have not just dug deep enough.
Yes.
It's not that our vision cannot be accomplished, but we're not willing to sacrifice the time, the talent, or the treasure to get to where we need to be.
I look at the. Sorry, go ahead, Jessica.
Oh no, go ahead.
Now I said, I look at the word and things like that is basically the batteries in like a toy or a machine or something like that. You put it in, but you still gotta flip the switch on, which is your hustle.
Yes.
And you gotta work and everything just to make it actually come together. So a lot of people will pray that their tough times will pass, but they won't do the effort and the work it takes to actually make the situation better.
I know you're right. And another thing is too, when we deal with emotions, and I talk about emotions in there because I had to learn that my emotions are meant to be followers. They're not to lead me. And a lot of times we let them lead us.
Just like
I don't feel like getting up today, so I ain't getting up, and I'm pulling the cover over my head.
That's a form of depression to me.
But if you fight it, your feelings will follow.
Yeah.
You have to, I talk about that 50-cent notebook. I'm talking about it to you all now. But that 50-cent notebook, don't you know, just to make your day go when you're in that state, sometimes you have to plan it out, like make appointments for yourself. I'm getting out of the bed, whatever time you got to get up, 5 o'clock, I'm getting up. I don't care how I feel. I'm getting up anyway. Even if I have to take a nap later, I'm getting up.
Structure.
Yes, and these are the phone calls and the contacts I'm making today toward my progress. And this is what I'm doing, no matter how I feel. Because I really don't feel like being with anybody. And I really don't feel like contacting anybody.
Definitely.
But this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to force myself to do it. And when you start doing stuff like that, things are going to progress for you.
Definitely.
They're going to progress for you.
Yeah, and I think that's a way, or even once you make a plan for yourself, that's a way for you to, once you accomplish those small goals, to celebrate small victories.
Yeah.
And it means a lot. Even if you see that your ultimate goal seems so far away, if you just celebrate the small victories, that'll give you encouragement to keep going.
Definitely.
I think that's great. And what do you all think about the season of quote unquote Christmas coming up? I mean, it should be a time of celebration, but it's a time when a lot of people
depression. I look at it, the holiday times, as far as I know, that's the time for me, as far as I try to be the most cautious and aware. I don't know. Everybody's in survival mode, definitely around that time. So, you want to definitely make sure your awareness up. Try to stay away from certain parts. There's a lot of people try to rob you to try to make their situation better. So, I don't know. I don't really get into Christmas and all like that, as far as from the trying to stress myself out about buying anybody anything. Honestly, they'll get it when they get it. You know what I mean?
And I think it's a blessing for me. I don't feel a lot of pressure because my daughter doesn't ask for anything. Like, I think in previous years, just to, I don't know, if I was trying to make it seem funner, I would kind of like make her get stuff. But now I'm like, wait a minute, as long as we have our cookies and our good food and we sit in the house all day in our pajamas, we're good. Like, and I think even this year, like she told me she wants 2 things, and I'm like, okay, cool.
But see, that shows a form of stability. A lot of times when you're not in a stable home, or like if you're just scattered just for survival, you look at Christmas and holidays like that as the one time where you make sure everything is right. Yeah, everything has to be right. And almost kind of like how when people do New Year's for the resolutions and stuff. Okay, I was scattered, I was messed up this whole year, so for Christmas I'm gonna make sure my baby's happy. Oh my goodness, these bills are coming. I don't know how I'm gonna make my baby happy, and these bills are still coming. So you know, I can see how people stress
and
out.
I can tell the difference now between like when we were growing up versus like my kid. Like, I think when the holidays came around, we would be thinking, oh, I want this for Christmas. I want that for Christmas. I want this for Christmas. I want that for Christmas. And there's certain things like we knew we couldn't get, or during the year, we go to the store, don't ask for nothing, don't. But like the place I'm at now, like we go to the store, my daughter asks for something, I might roll my eyes, but she still gets it. So it's like a non-issue. So,
but she is the only kid.
Yeah,
that's the one thing.
She is the only kid, but I think that maybe because that's a non-issue during the year. That's why she doesn't really ask for anything for Christmas.
Well, I could really say depression is real.
I know,
and
I know it.
Get really depressed, and they get suicidal too.
Yeah, definitely.
At around this time of year, and I think. And I'll be honest with you, knowing the real purpose of Christmas, and knowing that there's no way that Jesus would want us to celebrate his birth with that anxiety and putting that type of burden on you, because he came to relieve our burdens. He didn't come to put more burdens. He said, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. But there's a difference between what you know and then your culture. See, and a lot of times we buy into our culture, and then there's a war going on with that culture.
So just
listen, I think I was talking to you one of them years. I was like, I'm not gonna stress myself out. Listen, we got heat. Merry Christmas.
And you also know you got a job. You can get it later. Whatever she's asking for, you can always get it later.
Yeah.
So it's good to have stability, like a some type of paycheck coming in.
And I think what you said was good too, is creating memories, like
Right.
baking cookies and things like that are very affordable. Like we took our youth group down to light up night last night, but it was a lot of people down there, and it was nice.
That'd be that.
Yeah, it was really nice.
It just took a while to get out of there.
No, because we parked down by Station Square, so we caught the T over to Station Square and then just got right out. So it wasn't hard for us to get in or out. But it was really nice. It created an experience for them, but we had to do some preparation too. So if anybody out here is listening and their parents, just prepare to get snacks and stuff before you go to something like that. And pull out your little snacks and let them have their snacks. And you might buy one thing down there or something, but of course, everybody's going to be down there selling things that are just way overpriced. Everything's way overpriced. So don't go down there trying to eat your main meal or something like that.
Only tourists do that.
Yeah, but you can create during the holiday season, you can create memories without spending a lot of money.
You just got to use your mind and be creative.
Right. Well, you know what I like to do? Last year, even though my daughter wasn't here, we still had fun, but I looked at tasty videos. If anybody's familiar on YouTube, there's YouTube, Facebook. They probably have pages on each social media platform. Tasty has different like easy, quick recipes that you can make. So I looked at like a couple of cookie, because I love cookies. You look at a few different cookie recipes that you can do with your kids. And last year, my daughter wasn't even here, and we still had fun. Yeah. But they were different recipes that were other than the normal. The cookie cup. Yep. With the chocolate.
Yeah, those are real good.
And the peanut butter cookie with the Reese cup in it. Yeah. So that's something fun that I came up with that is really inexpensive. And we just make sure we have the most comfortable pair of pajamas we have, and maybe a good pair of slippers and something good to eat. Yeah. So I think creating memories that way, and if you can pick out some videos that you want to watch, a movie or whatever it is, and everybody just come together. Like I know me and my daughter enjoy a whole day together, just chilling.
See, what I think too is a lot of times the kid feeds off the parents. So if the parents depressed with anxiety and depression as far as about Christmas and worrying up, it's going to put the kid in a certain type of mood too. So you got to make sure, even if you don't have a lot, that you're still blessed with your health and you still walk around like you're a millionaire with your health. Like honestly.
And honestly, when you create those occasions and those memories, they last a lot longer than that thing that you just spent half your paycheck on.
Yeah,
they do. They really do. You know, because
you can always come back to it.
And then most of the time they're looking forward to those next year. Are we gonna do that again? We had so much fun when we did that. Dad, are you gonna take us there again, or are we gonna do that together again? And they're looking forward to that, and it didn't even cost you nearly as much, you know.
Yeah,
definitely. So, talking about culture, following the culture, how do you feel about the Popeye's chicken sandwich?
Wait. Before we get into that, when it comes to your book, I wanted to know, in this day and time, it seems like it's a shortage of love out there amongst people. And I noticed also that it seems like people, particularly the younger generation, might be backing away from God and religion. What would you say to encourage the person who does not believe or has turned away from God? How would you help them?
I would help them by saying that you may not be at a point in your life where you're even looking at formal, you may not want to be a part of church, but embrace God because He loves you. And matter of fact, out of all, and I say this, I don't want to be offensive, but out of all the little fishies that could have been anything, it was that one fishy from your dad that became you.
Too fishy.
I was trying to figure out where she was going with that.
Y'all preachers are crazy.
Well, I didn't know.
I mean, you can use the medical term.
Okay. Okay. Out of all the sperm,
fishy.
All of it. Well, I mean,
she's talking to Muffin right now.
Listen, I'm just saying, it didn't have to be you. And one of the things that I love, one of the phrases that I love, that the Lord speaks to His prophet, He said, "Before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you." And that's how you have to think about God. Thinks that much of you. Even when you're at a point when you don't think that much about yourself, He thinks that much about you, that before you were in your mother's womb, I ordained that you would be. I ordained that you would be. You know, so.
Okay. Go ahead.
So that's how important you are to God. And so what I'm saying is, before, I can remember being disappointed in church. But as I began to pour out all my things that I felt like were true, and I began to pour them out to God. Remember, I talked about that space, that alone space with God and talking to Him, and I began to pour it all out to God, all the things that I had against the church, and how this wasn't right and this isn't right, and then I could just hear His voice. No, I'm not crazy, but I did hear His voice, and you can too if you talk to Him. But I could hear His voice say to me, "What have I done to you?" And that's how personal He wants to be, His relationship to be with us. That He has a relationship with you. He wants you to be connected with other believers, but He wants to have a relationship with you even when you can't hardly find your place in a building, in a church with other people. So aside from the building and aside from that, He wants to have a relationship with you.
I guess I was kind of like thinking about people who are just non-believers.
Like atheists or just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think those people should just be left by the wayside. There should be ways that we can encourage them too.
Well, yeah, because depression doesn't discriminate religion. Like you said, your book, what was it? You just said purple, gray, blue. I was like, well, no, I don't think there's blue people out there, but
yeah. Well, it doesn't discriminate with people.
But so I do think that it could be
whether you believe in God or not, He exists.
But I feel like even if you take the religion and God out of it, like even for like an atheist or something, the prime example is to have some type of structure in place. Because they could have the 50 Cent notebook also and write down.
They can, and they can also seek truth.
I'm just saying people out there
because if you're not going to seek truth and you're just
right,
going to
there's
say,
a God to you, but to some people there's not a God. So I'm saying, how do you reach them without pushing?
Well,
God.
Well, the truth of it is that there is a God. So if they feel like they're true, I mean, I don't know what you want to say.
I'm done with what you said, but
well, that's it for the conversation with the preacher.
You can't get a preacher and an atheist in the same room with each other. It's going to be a brick wall.
Yeah.
Listen,
but you can take.
I could say to you, and this may not even be.
What type of advice other than God would you give somebody who's an atheist that want this in depression? So
I would ask them to still seek for truth, because the God that I know and love is going to make himself aware to you. You're going to be aware. If you are really a seeker of truth, you're going to be aware. And I'm so.
But that atheist person might be like, I'm not trying to hear anything about God, because it's going to probably be a negative response to your response. If they're like already depressed.
Like, okay, la, I'm an air shot. Yeah. God.
Okay.
So, I mean,
well, I've been friends to people who are atheists.
That's what I'm saying. Would there still be a way that you could talk to them?
I will, because I think love is a universal.
And
God is love.
Yeah,
and see, a lot of times before you can ever preach a sermon to anybody, you need to show love. You need to show love. And my thing is that's even why we do our Thanksgiving Day. This is our second annual Thanksgiving Day free dinner for anybody, because we don't want them to be alone. I don't want you to be alone. I want you to feel the love of family. I want you to be able to eat as much as you want, sit around. And it was on Thanksgiving Day, and it's at our church, which is 447 Halcombe Avenue in Clairton. And it starts at noon. And it's a free dinner. Our people are loving. They're not going to judge you. You don't have to dress up. You're not actually not even going to hear a sermon that day. You're going to feel a sermon. You're going to feel the love, the embrace. You're going to feel family atmosphere. You're going to be able to eat and laugh with people if you want to. You can stay as long as you want and leave when you want. Nobody's going to chain you down and make you stay there any amount of time either. But they are going to make sure you eat. They're going to make sure you get what you want to eat. And so that's our motto, is that love opens the door, you know.
And everybody's welcome.
And everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, I know. I'll be there.
Yes,
Me and my daughter will be there.
And it was we didn't know how our congregation was going to respond, because a lot of people like to have Thanksgiving Day dinner at their house with their family. But when we first mentioned it last year, everybody was like, yeah, let's try it. Let's do it. And then we had such a good time last year serving and everything that people just wanted to do it again. So we're going to do it. I actually am donating 3 turkeys. I'm going to bake 3 turkeys, and I'm excited to do it. You know, and I'm going to also make 3 large apple pies like this.
Apple pies.
Yeah, I'm going to make apple pies like this. I might make some
sweet potato?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll probably make sweet potato too, but I'm definitely going to make. Well, you know, we had somebody last year that they make them good too, and they donated a lot of sweet potato pies.
Yeah, I hear you there.
So,
make
you know,
apple,
yeah. So
when is that person coming back? I need my sweet potato pie. I don't.
I'll make
no
some sweet potato pies too.
Except for sweet potatoes, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I'll make some sweet potato pies too. But we're going to have pretty much, if you don't eat pork, there's still going to be turkey. There's going to be ham. There's going to be greens. There's going to be green beans.
Pork.
Oh, yeah, ham is pork. That's right.
You can tell who each other around here.
And there's going to be, okay.
Hog, maw.
Yeah. But anyway,
you pork this
and even if you there's somebody's making green beans with smoked turkey instead of the usual ham hocks and all that stuff too.
Are they French cut green beans?
I don't think so, but they're good.
Right,
yeah.
Simmer.
And you know what? Don't be asking us who made what.
That's about over for that.
Oh yeah, we have good cooks. We have some good cooks.
Who's making the macaroni?
I knew that question was gonna come. Don't ever ask.
I don't know.
And don't ever let anybody make the macaroni who's suspect.
Okay.
That's a rule.
Okay.
But you asking who? We gotta ask who. You told us don't ask who made what.
Don't ask, don't tell. But I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, you gotta know who makes the macaroni.
Well, you know what? I feel like this. Whenever
like
you're that particular,
is,
that might be your calling to do
but
that.
I feel like mommy's macaroni and cheese door is off. Like she just will let a random person make macaroni and
so
cheese.
So you gotta
sometimes.
ask if you just show up.
No, what I'm saying is, I feel like if you're like, there's certain staples of Thanksgiving, so you need to realize what strengths everybody has, so that you can tell them this is your specific job.
Like, I think that's your strength.
I think it's my strength too.
So you
maybe you should make it. Yeah.
Problem solved.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Well, I'm sorry, you were going into a different direction.
Nah, I was just starting to go into topics I was trying to pick your brain about, but just to see where you.
Well, you know, I think I really love this time of year because Thanksgiving, first of all, is one of my very favorite holidays because they have not really been able to commercialize it as much as other holidays.
Why you say that? That Black Friday be jumping.
Yeah, they just try to jump right into Christmas right after that. They don't want you to sit down with your family because even Thursday now the Black Friday. Yeah.
But you know what I noticed? Speaking of, if you want to bypass and I feel bad for anybody who's forced to work on Thanksgiving due to the jump on Black Friday. But in order for you to spend more time with your family, instead of going out shopping, a lot of those Black Friday deals are online. So if you want to set your alarm extra early and go online and maybe make your purchases and then use the rest of the day for your family, I think that's a good idea. I don't know. Sorry. Just my opinion. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I like this time of year. You know, I really do. I really like Thanksgiving, and I think that I think of it as sharing with a good meal together, but I also think of it as just coming together and and just expressing our love in ways that are not just you're buying a bunch of stuff, but we're coming together and we're talking and laughing together, and maybe some games, playing games and things like that,
Yeah.
I just think it's a really nice time of
It
year.
is. It's my favorite time of year. It definitely is. I don't know. Talk.
I don't know if it's my favorite time of year.
Well, I'll tell you how you can make a memory.
Oh.
You want to come and serve?
Yeah, I might actually do that.
Yeah,
I'm not doing
that's
anything.
it's making a memory. And then if you make a dish.
I ain't doing all that.
If you make
But you know what,
dish,
though? We did have a good time last year.
But I kind
so
of be
much
like,
fun.
on my holidays, sometimes it'll be like isolation because I know that day after is going to be crazy at work. Sometimes
You have to work the Friday after Thanksgiving. Oh, that's okay.
Well, I actually work on Thanksgiving.
I know you did.
But I like to volunteer earlier and then I go to work.
Okay.
And so I think if you come and volunteer, that's why it's called volunteer. You don't have to stay the whole time. Just come a little while and volunteer, and you will, I'm telling you, it will make a memory. And
I like doing humanitarian work.
Yeah.
12 to 2 is really easy, though.
yes,
too.
it's easy.
Yeah, we had fun last year. We did.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I think also, and I'm not trying to take over your show today, your podcast.
You do what you do.
You're our guest.
Okay. But
You're
I
my
think
mother.
this is a good time too to be proactive about 2020. Because it's the close of one year, and you don't want to wait until things are right up on you. This is a good time to analyze and strategize, and
Definitely.
just begin to look at some of your goals you may not have met this year, and how you want to restructure some things going into the 2020. And how you might even want to start to get information on different avenues that you might want to go in. Because my thing about even learning new things is to get information on some avenues you might want to venture into. It does not really cost you anything.
You just gotta learn how to do the research.
You have to do the research, and now is a good time, I think, to do research on some things like, what would you like to see happen in your life in 2020? What do you want to make different? What are you able to make? Because there's short-term goals and there's long-term goals. And there's some short-term goals that can happen that can make things your goals
easier.
seem a lot closer too.
Definitely.
Because I know that you all both are entrepreneurs. You all are thinking in ways of
Be able to stop the 9 to 5 and just work for ourselves.
Right.
Well, what I think there's several different things that I've been thinking about and kind of like writing down and to get a jump start on at the top of the year. So I think I've shared some of those things with my partner in crime. Well, I don't know if it's a crime, but my partner. So yeah, I'm really excited just to hit the ground running in 2020.
I had a good 2019, but I continue to try to prosper in 2020.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, just putting myself out here like this with this book,
it's a big step, right?
that was a big step for me.
But see,
It was a
and
challenge.
me and her had off camera talks about the things I feel like that she would be successful in pursuing, and this book actually might speak to her because I think she has the fear of being disappointed that it might not turn out the way she wanted to. But I feel like that she's special in like certain avenues that she doesn't take the chance and doesn't have the courage to go off that edge.
Yeah, I definitely think that she really could have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, like the one area that I think she could be successful in, I think that she has a mom and an aunt that actually give her the guidance to follow that.
Okay, so vulnerability time. You know what I think my issue is? A a lot of times making time to sit down and do it, number one. Number two, I really feel like I need somebody to help me figure out effective ways of meditating so that I can clear my mind, because it feels like I'm thinking about 15,000 different things at once, every minute of the day.
Can I tell you one of the culprits that makes your mind like that?
What?
Television.
That probably is it.
It does. Television does that to your mind. Yeah. And social media.
The Black Mirror is the screen. That is true.
It's true.
So isolation might help.
Yeah, it will help.
It
will help. Sometimes fasting from that. You know, we always think of fasting from food.
They say that's even with sleep too.
Yeah, it will help your sleep. It will help you hear God clearer. And it will help you regain your time.
You know what?
Being a steward over your time.
I think at this stage in my life, like, I am really starting to value sleep so much.
Sleep is the best thing ever. It's like being put on a charger.
Oh,
like if your cell phone and your drain is like being put on a charger.
Can I give you all a secret into the way I'm wired?
You take the little nap.
I take naps.
But you're not. Remember, when I was real young, you was trying to tell me there's no way I can sleep for like a half an hour, hour, or 2 hours, and I'll be more sleepy when I.
2 hours is too much.
That's what I'm saying. You're able to take those little naps. I can't do that.
I have to. I take naps, but I have to tell you a secret about me with anxiety. Like, I know where to have faith, but unknown gives me a lot of anxiety.
Me too.
So I have to make sure that I do things like this. And I think when you have a small business and you have a small budget that you're working on, you have to always have a day, at least one day, where you look at the finances and look at what's going on.
A lot of times that's something, especially if you're like in survival mode and you're easily susceptible to depression, you don't even want to look at them.
But you have to.
I know.
And if you
got to know where you're at to know where you're going.
Exactly. And if you know where you're at, it's going to, you sometimes see that fear of knowing where I'm at is bringing more anxiety than actually knowing where you're at. You know?
And honestly, I think that setting a concrete budget builds confidence too.
Yes.
Structure, I think once you start structuring any part of your life, it'll start feeling numbers up.
Because even if you get a credit card that's like $5,000, if you can pay something and chip away at it, even if it's $15, $20, whatever it is, that's small victories that you can celebrate because
I was telling somebody,
it's coming down. It might be slow, but it's coming down.
Yeah. I was telling somebody the other day, they was like telling me as far as how they just started their dad or whatever, but it's gonna be hard for them, blah blah blah. So then they started talking about finances. They don't know why they can save it. I told her, I was like, I bet you if you discipline yourself on this diet and follow those steps, it'll spill through on your finances, and you'll start being more disciplined with your finances too. So.
Right, because I mean, and just to add on to that, I noticed that now I eat way less meat than I used to, and I feel a lot better. Even I don't even think I have as much brain fog as I used to have before. My energy levels are up. I think that coupled with taking the right vitamins, I incorporated B12 into my regular one a day and stuff like that. So I think keep taking the right vitamins and changing your diet. Focus on the fruits and vegetables. I know it might, your mom tells you when you're little, eat your fruits and vegetables, but I'm telling you, the less sugar and the more fruits and vegetables, you'll feel better, feel more positive, and those are small changes that you can make that might not cost a lot.
And that's maturity. When you do the things that are hard, to make things better for a long term.
Yeah,
that's what maturity is. And just like you said, trying to build. Whether it's in your finances or in your diet or whatever. I could I like cake. I can
like
have it for
cookies.
breakfast,
Me too.
lunch, and dinner.
Me too.
But I know that's not what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
With
so
some
like you
almond
said,
milk,
I know. So discipline, and then forcing yourself to look at your finances. And sometimes you have to look at them more often when they're upside down. You know, you got to know what you got, know what's going through there, and you're going to find out stuff about yourself.
But look, that's the truth. That's the truth that you're talking about. Sometimes you think it ain't your friend, but it is your friend.
It's your friend.
Yeah. But a lot of people try to avoid that the financial part of the depression, but that's the main.
One of the main culprits.
Right. Because call me like this.
Contributors here.
If I look at my finances honestly, and I ain't talking about me now, I'm just talking hypothetically.
It's going to reveal who you are.
It's going to reveal who you are.
It is.
Am I spending, okay, like say, if I work 5 days a week and I'm spending $10 a day on Popeye chicken, that's $50 a week. That's $100 out of, if you get paid every 2 weeks, that's $100 out of that you're spending on Popeye's chicken. That's $200 a month that I'm spending on Popeye's chicken,
which is $2,400.
But yet I'm saying I don't have the money to incorporate my business, or I'm saying that I don't have the money to do this or do that. When if I just decided
that money,
reallocate it and say, okay, well now guess what? For a month or two, I'm going to eat peanut butter and jelly so that I can sacrifice to do this. That's going to propel me into that.
But what if the Popeye chicken is what's the thing that's making you happy?
Well, then you don't really have a vision. All you got is a little daydream.
If I don't get this Popeye chicken, this is going to be the one straw that breaks the camel's back.
All you have is a daydream, man. You don't have a vision. You're still immature in your thinking patterns about, because can I tell you this? You're not going to get nothing without sacrifice.
Anything.
Get nothing. Nothing worth having without sacrifice.
And I think also that with us two being two single people, when you have the discipline and you're able to sacrifice to get to a place where you want to be, that's attractive to other people too. Right? So, I don't know. That would be really attractive in a man. If I was looking for a man, then that's what.
You know what though? A lot of people who's in survival mode, they don't understand the doors that opens up when you start advancing and prospering to other levels other than just the bottom level. They don't know what the opportunity is when you start going to higher levels.
That's because I think when you're in survival mode, your life is more like being almost like a scavenger. Whereas when you're looking at
you can redirect that energy though. 'Cause I've been there. I'm telling you, you can redirect that survival mode energy into vision and into creativity.
Yeah, because honestly,
most artists not have this much, but guess what? Where I am, I'm gonna start with.
Most artists, before they become who they are, that's when their best work is when they're in that scavenger mode, you know.
That's
so you can redirect it.
And my little business in that came out of that survival mode started very small, very small. But I talk about the little steps. But we had to take a look at what we had, what we were making with the little snow cone machine. We had to be willing not to eat our seed. See, a lot of times people want to eat their seed. This is what, we made something now. Let's go out and buy a Cadillac.
Reinvest in yourself.
Reinvest in the business.
I always eat my
seed. But you want to go get some more equipment. Or get something that's going to better your business or make you better. Invest in a little more. Not that I know everything, but I know that much about it, and I know from experience that actually worked. And when people see that in you, that hunger for somebody that has already been where you're going or where you are, it's exciting to them to want to open doors for you because they see that you're ready, you are willing, ready, and able to put the work in that it takes to get where you want to go.
It's hard being in a position that I'm in, and probably Jessica's in a little bit more than when your back is against the wall, not having a choice. Because when you could just teeter the line and go, but like on one side, another side. Like my back ain't against the wall, so I don't feel like I'm
obligated to.
Yeah, and I'm just probably blocking my blessing more than helping me. You know what I mean? My 9 to 5 is probably.
But you got that hunger though. But you still got that hunger.
You're in somewhat of a comfort zone.
I'm in the comfort zone, but those 40 hours that I give to my employee, I could be doing something to better my entrepreneurship.
Don't think of it like that.
I mean, I'm just saying, sometimes you do got to take that leap, but when do you know when to take that leap?
Well, I feel like, I'm sorry. I wanted to, because I was forced to, I don't want to use the word forced because that's a little harsh, but I was given the opportunity to go through Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I think it helps to begin with the end in mind. You know, if you have a vision, stay on course, get tunnel vision, and, you know, just if you begin with the end in mind and you see where your peak is, where you want to get to, you'll keep going until you actually get to that point. And you never know, God might take you higher than where your vision can go.
I believe that. I believe that. And can I tell you something that's an enemy of your vision too? Entitlement. When you feel entitled to certain things, like this was a small goal.
I feel entitled for the power. When somebody wins the Powerball, I'm mad at them because I feel like I should be entitled to win that. That should be my money.
Okay,
I'm just saying. Like, it's weird. I feel like that's the self-awareness that I have about myself. It's weird. Like I will get mad at the Powerball winner. Like that's not weird to you.
That's weird.
Well, I think it's unrealistic expectations. But I mean, I want to just say that, you know, this was, I'm saying it was a small goal. It was a big goal for me. It might be small to other people.
It's a huge accomplishment.
But to me, working and being a pastor and then trying to get this finished, I had to say to myself, even though, you know how you say to yourself, well, you deserve to sleep longer. You know, you don't get off until 2 o'clock in the morning. And why are you trying to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, you know, to get a good 2 hours of writing in or something, or looking over what you wrote? Why are you trying to get that time, that private time? And you deserve to sleep. You deserve to be in the bed longer. Well, yeah, I deserve to be in the bed longer, but if I want to get something done. See, a lot of times we speak to ourselves.
Sacrifice.
Right, we speak to ourselves what we deserve, and it kills what we could be accomplishing.
And I think like I think a lot of people they tend to prioritize the thing that's going to give them little rewards right now, versus if you prioritize this thing over here, the reward can be exponentially greater later.
Yes.
But I don't know how you would try to get somebody out of that mindset of, okay, I'm going to prioritize this because I know I'm going to get $10 right back, or I'm going to get $900, $1,000, whatever paycheck. So I'm gonna prioritize this.
Got to be the
versus
people just got to be. You got to be a good example. You got to be able to set a good example and just be able to teach people that's below you. Like I'm gonna be like a mentor.
And everybody's not going to get it, but some people will.
It ain't meant for everybody to get it.
Right.
Especially with all the technology out here and all the distractions.
Right.
But I am proud of you for writing this book. I already voiced my opinion on it. I want you to sign it because I do feel like that there's more copies that's going to come out. So when you become a real famous author,
I'm proud of you too. I'm really excited for where you're getting ready to go in your ministry and as an author. It's really an exciting time. I'm really happy for you. I'm proud of you. So it's good to see you on this journey.
Well, I'm proud of you all too, and I thank you all for inviting me on your show. I'm proud of you all for even stepping out and having this show.
I think it'd be a funny show if we had a show when you were doing current events with us.
Oh yeah, I will.
That would be hilarious.
I will. I will, because you're going to want to know my perspective, because my age group, we vote.
Okay.
So you want to really know.
I vote.
Okay, but we vote more.
Yeah. Oh, y'all definitely do.
You want to know how we think. You want to know. But I want to say,
You break it down with the gang.
This gave me, huh? Wait. This gave me, this writing this book though, it gave me really the courage, because I said to myself, this is the first, not the only.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first, not the only. And I think that I'm going to put this out there too about, and this is in all seriousness, about following your dreams and doing what you feel in your heart that you are called to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is perfectionism is an enemy to creativity. Perfectionism.
Mm-hmm.
Stop over judging yourself about what you put out there first. It's your first. Be willing for it not to be perfect. You know?
I definitely understand.
Okay.
I'm never afraid to make those jumps off the ledge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm normally the first to land the jump
If
off
people
that ledge.
laugh, okay, let them laugh. So what? If they talk about it, so what? Let them talk about it. Because guess what? Your next one is going to be better. Your next one is going to be better. And usually them on the sidelines laughing, they're laughing because really they're afraid to step out and do anything like that.
Yeah, a lot of times the people laughing, I feel like in most situations, the people who have commentary, it's like you got to consider the source.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just keep it pushing. Have tunnel vision.
That's right. See, I haven't assigned to my life that I will be a perfect critic of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. That's not my role in life.
Mm-hmm.
To critique everything. I'd rather be a doer than one that sits on the sidelines and critiques everybody.
I try not to worry about what the next person is doing.
Right.
And then at the end of the day, I never judge somebody on what it is too, when it's like you said, it's still a baby. What it could grow into being, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody probably laughed at Bill Gates.
Yeah.
And you know what I think? There's this Kevin Hart interview on the Breakfast Club sticks out to me because they asked him, and this is not like verbatim or anything, but basically they asked him, what does he think has made him so successful? And he said, focusing on myself, not worrying about what other people who might be my competition is doing. I just worry about myself and, you know, what I could do to make me better. And so, like, that's really good advice, because when you think about it, when people are running marathons, they're not necessarily looking back to see where their competition is. They're running that race so that they can finish and get to the finish line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and another one is, I want to say it was Tyler Perry. They asked him, what makes him so successful? He said, I just do good and trust God. Mm-hmm. That's all it boiled down to. Do good and trust God. And I was like, wow.
Now you do gotta hustle though.
Yeah.
You don't just sit back and think you can't do anything.
Right. I mean, and that's somebody who's a huge hustler, and has made huge sacrifices, if anybody knows his story. So, in that hustling, do good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you gotta be willing to really kill some of the things in your life that are major hindrances. Mm-hmm. Yes, to your vision. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they will.
It could be things you love.
That's right. But sometimes they are in disguise as.
That's why people are scared to look at those finances, because a lot of times they're guilty pleasures that you're spending money on.
It's talking to you, telling you about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a full circle. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's no crazy formula. It's just, we all know what you really have to do. It's just that you put yourself so far in a hole that it's hard for you to get out of that survival mode.
Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody is ever too far in, because incrementally we can start. It's not about, a lot of times radically, but it's just incrementally just taking back for yourself, being honest with yourself and seeing what it is, and then incrementally taking it back. And so say if maybe I didn't stop eating the Popeyes every week. I mean, but I stopped eating it 5 days a week, and I'm just only treating myself to Popeyes one day out of the week. So
that's an accomplishment.
It's an accomplishment, and it's still money now that you can see that you can invest a small amount into who you said you want to be, because you got to believe it. If I believe first, I can make a believer out of other folk. Look, you might not think much of me, but as I incrementally start to invest in that area of my life, who I say I'm created to be, after a while, I'm going to make a believer out of somebody.
I'm going to make a believer out of you.
Yeah.
All right.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts?
No, I'm just glad that she came and spoke about her book today. I'm really happy to have you as a guest.
Oh, thank you so much. Can I invite people to come out to Thanksgiving?
Sure.
You all are invited to come out to Thanksgiving dinner. If you don't have anyone to share Thanksgiving with, you are invited to Ebenezer Christian Worship Center for Thanksgiving Day dinner. It's at noon on Thanksgiving Day. The address is 447 Halcombe Avenue in Clairton, Pennsylvania. And also, if you just want to enjoy some good Christmas music, December the 8th, that's a Sunday, December the 8th at 4 p.m., you're invited to come out also. We're going to have Radiant Strings. We're going to have their violin, cello, all kind of, we're just going to have a really good time. It does not cost anything, and you're going to enjoy. You're just going to be able to get into the Christmas season. Bring the kids out. I'm going to even have some Christmas cookies there you can have.
Did you have the one with the Reese in the middle?
I don't know. Are you going to make those?
No.
Okay. we may not have the ones with the Reese, but we will have some good Christmas cookies.
On deck.
And I just want to give you the address again. It's 447 Halcombe Avenue in Clairton, Pennsylvania.
All right. Well, I guess it's a wrap for our
39th episode.
Yeah, our conversation with the author. I just want to tell everybody happy holidays, and if you just make it a point to do good for somebody else, it'll make you feel better, I think.
Definitely, always. That's a real reward, helping somebody.
Yeah. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, and we have another conversation with the author on December 6th. I have another conversation with the author coming up on December 6th. That's going to be a special episode. We will be talking with author Tennille Chafin to discuss this book, Little Duke Boy, From Poverty to Purpose. So this book is also available on Amazon. And I think that's it. So if you guys can please like, comment, and subscribe, it'll be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
Can I tell you two thank you for inviting me?
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much for messing up my outro.
Oh, I'm sorry. Like mothers do, okay?
Thanks, Mom. Love you.
Love you too. Love you.
All right, everybody. Bye.